It is time for your WIN podcast for super busy professionals sharing transformational moments. Your host, Chu Tang.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Win podcast. Today, I have a very special guest all the way from Gold Coast, Australia, my dear friend, Alyson. Welcome, Alyson.
Good morning, Chu. Well, afternoon to you. Morning for me. How are you?
Thank you. How are you?
I'm, really, really well. It's a Friday morning over here, so into a
Right,
weekend.
right. It's Thursday for us here. So, Alyson, I'm just going to ask the only one question for the podcast, which is, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. Yes.
Okay. So, share with our audience a scene in your life where you experience a transformation and it changed your life forever from that point on.
Well, there's a few actually. But I'm going to go to where I'm actually speaking a lot about at the moment and really unraveling this time in my life. And as you know, Chu, I'm actually a naturopath. And it's really interesting. The last 13 years, I was actually a Domino's franchisee. And a lot of people went, well, how does that fit? That in itself is a long story. But actually, this moment was, I do remember it because it was a really impactful time. And I standing there doing dishes, and it was a New Year's Eve. And I'd sent all the staff home. And because they all had somewhere to go on New Year's Eve, I really didn't. So I was like, yeah, go and have fun. So I'm scrubbing and cleaning up the place and scrubbing the dishes and scrubbing the floors and doing all these things. And I sort of just stood there, and it was like this, what the hell is going on? Like, what am I doing here? I'm 50. I own 2 stores and I'm standing here doing dishes. Is this my future? And it was really a moment where I just went, who am I? And I think a lot of females in that, perimenopausal age, the kids are all growing up, can all really relate to that. But for me, it sort of impacted me a little bit deeper. There was a lot of things going on in our life that weren't right. And I was pretty well crashing in a lot of areas. And this was just another layer on top. And it was that moment when I really went, you know what? I don't know who I am. And my history is an adoptee at birth. And I've had a great life, and I've had really a good loving adopted family and upbringing and all of those sorts of things. But for me at that point, it was really an unraveling of, am I just who I need to be for everyone else, or am I being who I need to be for me? And it started me on a journey of actually self-healing. And it was like I hit that rock bottom to have to make that transformation. So yeah, and that's led me on now back being a naturopath again. No more Dominoes. So that's fantastic.
So
But
you
it's
sold your business, right?
yeah. So back into and through that journey though, actually my own transformation led me to a program or a method called Creatrix. And that was what really started to help heal, I call it heal my heart. But obviously for me, it allowed me to remove all of those layers and all those questions and keep stepping forward into who I really need to be for me and who I am underneath. And that's my transformation I'm going through now. And it's and not only for me now I'm on a mission to do that for others like me who have been on this whole roller coaster journey of adoption. And it appears that there's a lot more to us than just a name that gets changed at birth. There's a lot more happening internally, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And now that's where I'm at in putting together these little packages, which is a transformative journey for other adoptees. And that's your authentic self. That's where I'm at now. So that's a little bit of a snippet.
So that moment that you were doing dishes at Domino Pizza,
Yeah.
how long did it take you to complete the transformation? And then
It
give us more
honestly,
detail about what was
yeah, okay. So from that moment, like, was really, obviously I'm in a business, it's a franchise. You can't just say that's it. Like, you can't just quit and walk out
right,
when you're the
right,
boss.
right,
You've got all the responsibility
right.
of everyone. And it was through that journey, that moment where I started to realize
Mhm.
that I needed help to get out of that mindset, like, because you
Oh,
grow
okay,
up,
okay.
and a lot of us have that fawning, appeasing type where we just do, and we're on auto drive. We're like
Yep, yep,
little
autopilot.
machines, aren't we? And we're just living and doing, but not being. I guess we're existing, not even living. But it did take from that point. That was really early 2020, and it took about 6 months for me to even be able to start to work on, like, to find the for me, it's self-care, it's self-worth, self-love, all of those things, for you to actually put yourself first,
Right,
prioritize over
right,
everything else, to even take that first little step to
right.
acknowledge that you needed help, and for me to
Yeah,
actually reach out and get help. I was really at my
yeah.
lowest of lows. And it was really that point where I went, this is enough, enough's enough, because this isn't what I want. And it's taken, that's 4 years to get really to this point. Both the stores were sold over a year ago now. So
Right.
it took quite a few years to keep, and you keep, as we say, the ego likes to keep us in that place of,
Yeah.
the same place, even if it's not good for us, it's
Right, right, right,
the same. So it's safe
right,
in our eyes, in our unconscious mind,
right,
and to
right.
keep turning that corner and go, no matter what. So we've literally, I have been on this financial roller coaster journey of literally keep moving towards what I know I want to do for me, and just trusting that whole process. And part of that's just unraveling who I am underneath, what I
Right.
want, having self-value. And as a naturopath, that's really been a few aha moments, because we have a lot of people come into our lives in the clinic who want to be helped, who are
Right, right,
suffering for some reason.
right.
But why can't people make the lifestyle changes that they know they need to?
Mm,
It's fascinated me, because even in my own, I knew everything to do, but here I was doing everything opposite. So it was really that unconscious mind, and healing that
mm,
self-worth, that self-value, to be able to put certain things in place to keep moving forward. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of challenges, and I'm still transforming. And it's just that trust in the process, and stepping, even at those moments you think, oh, I should just give up and just go get a job, like, and you go,
mm,
no, that's because you're just about at that point of breakthrough, that next layer. And then all of a sudden things will, when you move past that and say, don't be silly, this is my path, this is my passion, I'm not giving up, this is who I am, this is what I'm sent here for, this is in my heart. Then things just drop into place. And you go, yes, that's right, that's why I'm not giving up. Because as soon as you walk through, so obviously every day is another transformation. We all wake up and we have two
True.
ways at the day, and we've just got to choose which one we decide to move through. And we can have our moments. I had my moment in tears the other day, and just went, it's heavy, it's a lot. People don't understand how much is behind being an entrepreneur and trying to do things differently, and trying to build a
Yeah,
business, and
yeah.
everything that goes with that in so many levels. People probably think, it's just a safety net, isn't it? Really, go get a job, you just know that certainty is there. Whereas an
Not
entrepreneur,
really. There's a lot of layoffs
well, true
going
that,
on. Yeah,
you're right. We've been through that too,
yeah,
lost jobs and
yeah.
lost a lot of things where you think are certain. Yeah. So I guess life, we need to embrace uncertainty.
Yeah, yeah. So
Sometimes.
this program, that are you still in the creative program?
Oh yes. Oh
Okay.
yes.
So is it like a lifelong program, or how, I mean, for
It's
someone learn more
It's
about it?
for me, I call as a transformologist. So within that, every year we keep our license. And if you are staying within the license, then you actually
Yeah.
have, like, this is what I love about it so much. Not only am I learning and growing in my development to help other women, if
Mm,
I need it,
mm,
I just put my hand up, you know, something's,
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm at that now. I've got a couple of sessions coming up in the next couple of weeks just because of a few things that are happening in my life at the moment that I just need some clarity through and need to move through. And so it's fantastic that we have that ability to work with each other and to keep growing and to keep moving through our own. It's all in our own unconscious mind, our own limitations, our own beliefs. So
Yeah.
it's not about the event that happens. It's just our perceptions of them. So to be able to go in and just change that perception and look at it so differently within that hour and just move forward. Like I just tested this in Bali recently, a few weeks
Okay.
ago. I just went, wow, this is an Alyson that didn't exist not so long ago. Like the unsafe in my journey, unsafe has been a really big part of me. And I understand now why. It was my mother actually tried to commit suicide when she found out she was pregnant with me. So when we look at epigenetics and we look at in uteri and all the emotions and everything that's going, I thought, no wonder I have lived a whole world in this. You know, you do everything for everyone because you're just trying to find that. I just don't think enough people understand the whole conscious, unconscious, who's really driving the car, and 5%, 10%, 90, 95%. So for me, we worked on this unsafe, and in Bali, I jumped in the deep blue ocean out in the middle of the wild, jumped in with wild dolphins on my own. And people might go, oh yeah, what? Sorry. And I'm like, hey, this is someone who wouldn't even swim in a backyard pool if she was on her own. Like, that's the level of, I used to get anxiety.
Wow.
Like, and now, and even shark, you know, fears of sharks and things,
Yeah.
I'd always be, there was nobody else around. It was just us,
Yeah.
the boat, and these dolphins. And I just didn't even think. I was like, yeah, no, getting in, and just jumped in. And there was a few other things in Bali that happened as well that I just went, wow, this is someone who the nervous system used to switch on and you could feel it and tense up in certain situations, like in a car on a dirt road. If we were going over 50, 60, which is kilometers an hour here.
Yeah.
If there was any traction, I'd always really, because I rolled a car when I was a teenager, so I've always had that on a dirt road, unsafe. And we in Bali, we were on these buggies on dirt roads and absolutely honging it and spinning around corners. And I was just like so relaxed and just, and it's moments like that that I just go, wow, this really is amazing. This works so deeply that just, you know. So yeah, that's the transformation I'm on at the moment, and I will continue to keep transforming and growing because I'm addicted. I love feeling the freedom of knocking all of those limitations off.
Wow, this is great. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe I should look into that program too, because I almost drowned, and then almost drowned, and then the first time I went swimming, for some reason that my grandma was convinced that it was the ocean that got me meningitis. So I have this deep phobia that I couldn't go. Yeah, but I always have this dream that I could swim with dolphins.
Well, that's where we need to test you, or you need to just sort on some of this, and we need to get you to Bali.
And the same thing that I cannot sleep when someone's driving, because when I was a teenager, I was in an accident because the driver fell asleep and then the car rolled down, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's our body does it. Like it's so clever. It's protecting us. It's keeping us alert.
Yeah, but it limits us from experience the
it
good
limits
thing
us.
life.
It limits us. And there was another one in Bali. I was on the back of the scooter. We went, you know, like, as you know, Asian countries and scooters, it's crazy. And I was just on the back of Damien, and usually him driving, and I always on the back seat, you know, again and then whenever, henpecking, as he'd call it. But I was just so happy to just sit on the back and let him. We were just, you know, and this is some of my kids have always gone, oh, Mum, you just worry too much about everything. Just stop stressing. And I used to always think, I don't stress. I don't worry about anything. But I now know. And mind, body, yes, my kidneys is my weakness, and they are our fear. Like our kidneys,
It's the fear.
so for me,
Right.
it's now really releasing so much of that too.
Oh,
And honestly,
wow.
just say it's amazing to feel that inside yourself. Other people do notice. Like I do have people say to me, wow, you look differently. And I go, yeah, I feel it. I feel like I'm glowing because I'm finding that happiness inside. And don't get
I
me
couldn't
wrong, it does
say.
bring challenges along the way because
Mm.
change is scary. A lot of people go, oh, what if I change? Life around me will change. Well, it does,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden you realize you own your own BS,
Mm-hmm.
and you also won't own everybody else's BS. You actually will start to change
Wow.
your perceptions of self, but your perceptions of others and your
Yeah.
perceptions of the world. So it changes
Yeah.
our relationships with
Yep.
all of those in
Yep.
a
Yeah.
positive way for us. It may
Yes.
not always be positive for everyone else, because all of a sudden we're not doing things the way they are used to. So it can
Oh.
cause, but at the end of the day, I think that's, for myself and as an adoptee, that is huge. That is the self-worth, the self-love that needs to come back to go, no, hang on, I am wanted, I'm loved, I'm needed, I'm worthy. All of these things that we just grow up unconsciously living, thinking that we're not. And so it's very strong. So I'd love to chat to you more about that possibility too. And I think why it's so different, like a lot of the other programs are all designed around the male brain. And as a lot of people aren't aware that a lot of medications, a lot of studies, a lot of research is only ever done with male rats, or because of the females have these things called hormones that mess up things and make things so easy for scientific research.
Right.
So I think, sorry, can you still see me?
Yes, I could still see
Oh,
you.
that's good. My screen I have this time limit that tries to limit me, but it's disappeared. So this is one of the only, I'm sure it's the only, that is designed for the female brain, because we have these emotions connected to us and wired so differently in our being. And that's us as women and as nurturers and those who birth the next generation, have a different way of coding and protecting. That's just in our nature. So
complex.
yeah, and so that's what I love about it, because it is not about the trauma. It is not about being hypnotized or somebody else telling you what to think or believe or change. It's all, you have your own wisdoms, and they're all within your DNA. And it's not just your experiences, though. I think this is what so many ahas. For me, it was, okay, the adoption, but it's more than that. It's like, where else has that unsafe come from that's so strong in my genes? So understanding it can be from generational traumas that have been passed down. And I've had grandfather who was a soldier in the German army. I have a grandmother who was on the run, World War II. She was Yugoslavian, locked, after the world, they lost everything. So when we look back through our history, and it's all of everything that we are exposed to switches on these little messages in our DNA, and that gets passed through the bloodline. And I love that. Like, that's the fascination, epigenetics, and tying the emotions into the epigenetics as well as the environmental side of things. I've just always been fascinated by nature versus nurture, and who am I, why am I how I am, and all of the biology side of things. So it's just it's a natural process for me back on this journey again. So excited.
I would definitely want to invite you to be back and then talk more about it in more more details. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Talk for hours about anything.
We can talk for hours. Yeah. Thank you so much. So if you guys like this episode, come back, and then until then, stay happy and hopeful. Thank you, Alyson.
Stay happy. Thank you so much, Chu. Morning, Chu.
So what do you think?
Good morning, Chu. That was fun. That was really awesome.
Wow, I think I always learn something every time I interview my guest speaker. So this time I really need to check out your program.
Yeah. It's been a while for me to actually put it all together and get my clarity around just how to combine the emotional and the physical. So it's been,
so
been such a process.
So I'm actually curious that do you have a favorite celebrity?
Favorite celebrity? Oh, geez.
It's off topic, but I'm always curious.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I usually have quite a few of them. So let me think. Usually like Julia Roberts, I love
Oh,
her movies. Celebrities. Who else do I love? Oh, now I can't even think of a name.
movie.
She's being Family Ties. She's older.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible? You can't think of their names. But I love
Family
all of
Tie.
them. Diane Keaton. Diane
Oh,
Keaton.
Diane Keaton. Okay.
Yes, she's another classic that I love. If it's one of her movies, I've got to watch them. And of course, Clint Eastwood. Like, who doesn't love Clint Eastwood with all his charisma?
Yeah. Clint Eastwood. So, which
So,
one would you like to meet if you have to pick?
which one would I like to meet?
In person.
Gee,
Asking all this tough question.
you're trying to laugh.
Tougher than the main subject of this podcast.
I think then you go deep diving into who. I think Diane Keaton.
Ah,
I think she's she's a dag.
ah,
You know what that word means in Australia?
kind of.
I better be careful because in Australia, a dag is actually a bit of poop from a sheep's bum. But
What?
so that's really not what I mean when I'm
Does it
thinking.
mean she has character? She has character?
It means, she's just a little bit like down to earth and a bit raw.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a funny, goofy type character,
Yeah.
and she reminds me of one of my old school friends actually. And I just love, she just doesn't take herself so seriously. And I think to meet her in life, I think she'd be a little bit more interactive. I don't know,
Wait.
some of the others, yeah.
Is she the one who did the same movie with Keanu Reeves?
No, is that Sandra Bullock?
No. Keanu Reeves plays a doctor.
Oh, yes, and she's
Yeah.
older and they have
And I think they dated each other
Yes,
shortly
they did.
too.
Yes,
Real life.
actually now you've just reminded
Yeah.
me of actually probably who really is
Yeah.
my favorite actor, and that would be Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
And now if you say if I had to pick between him and her, I would probably love to meet Keanu Reeves more than anyone.
Okay.
And actually, we actually saw him here in Australia. He was here. We were up on holidays up in Cairns, and
Oh my God.
yeah, we actually went out to one of these little islands up near Cairns, and we were sitting on the jetty fishing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And there was this island, it's called Double Island over there, that the celebrities all used to hire. And they said, at the moment, there's a heap of celebrities over there.
Yeah.
In a party. And while we were sitting there, this big limo came and pulled up. And we're like, okay, well, we're not going anywhere till we see who comes to this limo.
Yeah.
Anyway, Keanu Reeves and a few others came over. And apparently Jennifer Aniston was there at the same time. Anyway, we were sitting in our little old Delica at the time, picking out the windows. We were the only car around the place, and they had the limo and some motorbikes, and they came over, jumped on the jetty, and they jumped on some motorbikes. We've got some paparazzi photos out of the disposable camera of him out of the window. So yeah, that was pretty funny actually. But I think out of everyone, I think he actually holds my heart more for the most integrity in being human.
Yeah.
What would the humanity and integrity? So I guess I would actually probably put him at the top of the list of those for me. So yeah, that was a good call, Chu. I like that.
Okay. Because my number one at all times is always Keanu Reeves. And I'm thinking, I haven't met anyone who doesn't like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, no, actually I went to the women. Maybe it's just because it's all this International Women's Day and women's
it's true.
In the brain lately. I just went thinking about the gals. But that's you're right. Yeah.
Well,
so
thank you so much for this call today. Definitely want you to come back and then talk more about the program and all that. So
I love the opportunity, and I just love sharing the message. So thank you. It's been, as always, wonderful to connect and chat.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share. See you soon at Your Win Podcast.